Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Debt Free Mafia. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, you're probably checking out this video because you've either thought about getting solar panels or you are thinking really hard about installing solar panels. That's basically the same thing that I just said, but it doesn't matter. Here, I kind of want to talk today. Is it worth it? Are solar panels worth it for you? And that is a really, really good question because it seems like everywhere I look, I see them getting put up more often than not. And in this video, I wanted to caution you big time on solar panels. Not that I'm against what solar panels offer as far as environmental attributes. I am talking more about is it really worth money or is it very expensive and not worth the money? So we're gonna dive into it. I'm gonna talk a little bit today about kind of what you could expect with solar panels and some difficulties that you could also expect and some benefits to them, so that you kind of have a well-rounded idea. This is going to be kind of my opinion on this kind of stuff as a financial coach. And I'm gonna go ahead and jump into that. Guys, if you don't know my name is Rick. I'm a financial coach. I help people become financially bulletproof. I'm also the owner of the Debt Free Mafia. We'd love for you to be a part of the Mafia. It doesn't matter if you're debt free or not, but if you like the debt free lifestyle, if you're striving for the debt free lifestyle, you're already living it, go ahead and hit subscribe. I'd love to have you here. So thankful that you're stopping by. Let me know in the comments below, are you for or against solar panels? Just curious. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. Okay, so let's kind of jump into it. So I was looking at some statistics when it comes to solar panels, and they did some research. Pew Research did some research on Americans who either had solar panels or were looking to get solar panels, and they said, what is the number one reason that you got solar panels? And 96% of those looking to either get solar panels or who had solar panels said, yes, we want to save money on our electric bill. That's the number one reason. The second reason at 87% was to protect the environment. So I thought that was kind of shocking because I thought that a lot of people, their main driver was for the environment. Nope, it's for their wallet. So that means to me that a lot of people need to consider what I'm going to say in this video when it comes to whether or not you should purchase solar panels. So let's kind of talk right off the bat about installation cost, right? There's a lot that goes into installing solar panels, more than a lot of people think. A lot of people think that they've got some square footage on their roof and that they can get solar panels. But there's some things you really have to consider. You have to have a site survey, so they have to come and check out to make sure that you are in a house that can take solar panels. I'm not a solar panel expert, so I couldn't tell you what those requirements are. However, there are requirements to be met. You have to make sure that your roof is not old or damaged, right? Because they might have to replace the roof before they can even put new solar panels on. And that could be an additional out-of-pocket cost if there isn't insurance money involved there. So have to consider that also. A lot of cases, you're gonna have to have some trees removed. That's not something I have to worry about here in West Texas because people love trees and it's really hard to even come by trees or a house with good trees because we're out in the desert. But for some of you that live more east and maybe in more climates where it actually rains, you're probably gonna have to consider this because trees can get in the way and block the sun and prevent you from getting solar light, right? So that's the whole point. Also, you're gonna have to have some electrical upgrades, right? You have this whole new power current coming in. Depending on how you end up wiring it up, there's a few different ways. I know they have to wire it up, and you have to build essentially the electrical infrastructure to handle this new source of power. On top of that, you got materials like the actual solar panels, and then you got to pay for the installation, which is the actual labor, design, and everything that goes into putting it on your roof, right? So if you're like me, everything I just said kept adding dollar amounts, right? Dollar amounts, dollar amounts, dollar amounts. So it is very expensive right now to put in a solar solar panels for your house. We're looking at anywhere for as low as $10,000 all the way up to upwards of $40,000 and even sometimes above that. So that is huge, right? A lot of people have a house that's, $250,000, $300,000 here in Texas. I know it's different for you people in California and other expensive places, but that's like, that comes down to like 20% of the cost of your home at that rate, which is getting really crazy to me. And a lot of people, one of the incentives that they are gunning for, because it gets marketed to them really hard. I just had one on YouTube this morning. Is that there's a federal tax credit program going on right now, and in general marketing fashion, they're telling you that it's ending soon. But they don't know. Soon could be now. Soon could be 50 years from now. But they want you to take advantage of it. So as you know, we're taxed two different ways, especially those that live outside of Texas. But here in Texas, we just get federal tax, right? However, in a lot of other states, you have to pay federal and state. And so federally, you get a 26% tax cut on the installation of those solar panels. So you can save up to 26% on the solar panel installation and materials and all that fun stuff. Your total cost essentially is what I'm saying. However, I will warn you that these solar panel companies totally know it. I mean, look at their advertisement. Their advertisement is all about you taking advantage of the tax credit. So naturally, they know that you're getting a tax break, so they inflate the prices to match that tax break. So it seems like you're getting savings through a government incentive program, but in reality, you're probably not. I don't know. I'm not going to accuse any solar companies of doing that. However, I have read and researched that does happen. So be buyer beware on that. Also, there should be in your local area, if you're not in Texas, I'm not 100% sure on Texas incentives. I don't think they're great, but in other states, like I know that South Carolina, for example, has like a 51% tax break for solar panels. So you can get that on top of your federal tax break, which could really end up helping you save a decent chunk of money. And then also there's other incentives for certain places where you can technically, if you're not using all of the electricity that you have in your solar panels, you can turn around and sell that back basically to the grid system or whoever the provider is in your area. And I will note that if that is not an option for you, you will have to purchase batteries to be able to store that electricity and be able to use it at night. So that's another cost item that you're going to have to consider if you are considering solar panels. So the big question is are solar panels really going to save you money? Because that's the driving motive when it comes to solar panels. That's a really good question. And that's not easy to answer because it depends again on where you live, what the local incentives are, states incentives are, county. It goes on and on and on, right? So it just depends on if it's really going to save you money. Here in Texas, I know a lot. I've spoken to realtors about this, and they said it can take anywhere from 10 to 15 years, like really closer to 15 years for them to actually pay for themselves before you start actually saving money long term. So that's really troubling to me because not very many people stay in a house for 15 years. Maybe you have, maybe that's something. If you're planning on staying in the same home for the next 15 years, then it would be something you could really consider. There's other states where the incentives really start to pay off, so it'll be as fast as 6 to 8 years. However, that's just really nuts to me because you're paying an inflated price for electricity essentially until it's paid for itself, and then you will also start saving big time on your electricity after that. I will also note, if you take out a loan to pay for these solar panels, that includes an interest rate as well. So that's additional extra things you're going to have, or that interest you're going to be paying is going to be an additional cost over the life of the loan for that. So there's all of these costs that are starting to stack up, and I know people here in West Texas that's taken 15 years for them to break even on their solar panels, or it's going to, because a lot of people didn't install them 15 years ago, obviously. But which is just crazy to me because it's just you're paying so much whenever there's things out there here, especially here in Texas. If you're in Texas, listen up. There's things like Energy Ogre. So I've partnered with Energy Ogre in the past because I genuinely believed in their service. I reached out to them. I said, hey guys, you're saving people so much money on electricity. What can we do to save them more? They said, here, we're going to give you a promo code Mafia. All you need is your last month electric bill. You send it to them, and they'll go and negotiate you a cheaper electrical rate. Also, if you use my promo code, they'll give you a free month of their service. I'm actually about to do a video talking about how much money they've saved. I'm just a big believer in them. I think if you can take advantage of something like Energy Ogre here in Texas, that's going to end up being way cheaper in the long run than buying solar panels. I will provide, so there is a way for you to check, is it worth it or is it not? Down below, there is a link to a government regulated calculator to essentially find out if it's going to be worth your time to install solar panels and what you can expect cost-wise. I'm going to put that link down below. I think it's called pvwatts.com nrel.gov, I think is what it is, but it's going to be below. Be sure to check that out if you're considering solar panels. In my opinion, in most cases, solar panels are not going to be worth it for most people. It's, one big factor that I've run into in the clients that I coach is if they are paying too much for a house or need to get away from the house, or there's something going on legally where they just can't, they don't need that house anymore and they need to sell it. It is an absolute pain to try to sell a house with solar panels that still owe money on them, because you can't just pack up that new grid system that you built in your backyard and solar panels, throw it in the back of your truck and move it to the new house. There might be a way to do that, but it's just not practical, right? And so there has to be a lot of negotiation being done, because most people who are taking out a mortgage to buy a house, they don't want to take on an additional loan to pay for solar panels. And I don't blame them, right? I don't blame them. They already just took out a huge loan. So that's a big thing, because especially if you're thinking about moving away or think something might come up like that, that is going to be a big time pain, and you're going to have to probably use a real estate agent to help you negotiate that, because more often than not, you're probably just going to have to take a cut in the profit of your home to be able to pay off the solar panels. And a lot of people think that they just think that solar panels add value to the home. In reality, they don't. So they add maybe a tiny bit of value, but definitely not what you paid in them worth of value. So please consider that. But yeah, I think the general rule of thumb that I want most people to have is, if you really are thinking about solar panels, do it for the environment and not for the cost savings, because in most cases, again, it doesn't save you cost, and you have to understand this. Solar panels are a luxury. They are not a necessity. They're a luxury right now. I'm hoping that they get cheaper and they get more affordable and more trustworthy in a lot of cases. And then at that point, let's reconsider. But as of right now, this is October of 2021. Be very cautious. Do a ton of homework. Consult, get many quotes. Guys, honestly, they're not worth it in the long run for most people. But they could be for a very few. So be sure to do your homework. Guys, I appreciate you. I hope that was helpful. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think about solar panels. And then also, if you don't mind, hit subscribe. We'd love for you to be a part of the Mafia. Hit the thumbs up, because it'll help other people find this who have questions about their solar panels. Guys, I appreciate you, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.